Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We're here with our usual crew, Stephen, Andrew, and Holmes. And we have a very special guest for the Arsenal post-game. We have Mick Moran. Mick is part of the Kopite Podcast. You can find him on Twitter, Mick LFC. The I is the one. And then also, the Kopite Podcast on Spotify, Apple, as well as YouTube. Hey, Mick, thanks so much for joining us, man. How's everything going?
Yeah, not bad. Chelsea have just got knocked out the cup. Liverpool have won 3 out of 3. Can't get any better, can you?
Really can't, especially when Lampard's son Mason Mount misses the last penalty kick. He was the only person to miss, and honestly, I could not be more stoked. Andrew, Holmes, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man. Got one name for you, Sadio Mane. All I need to know.
I love that. Holmes?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Still on cloud nine after last night. So, yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, man, it was a great Monday. I'm not a big fan of the Monday games, but all things considered, I mean, with the result, couldn't be much happier. I just want to start quickly, instant reactions. What were your guys' thoughts? Mick, as the new guy joining us, what were your thoughts and everything you saw yesterday in the game?
It was a lot easier than I expected it to be. I kind of expected them to start well. I kind of half expected them to get the first goal, to be honest, because it's happened quite a lot against Arsenal recently where they take the first goal, but more often than not, this Liverpool team are just too good, and more often than not, we'll grind you down, and we're just too good, we're too fast, we're too strong, and we'll end up beating you somehow, some way. It was uncharacteristic of Robbo to make a mistake like that, but then that made him just that more determined to go down the other end and get a goal, and that's what he did pretty much straight away. And especially scoring 3 goals, Sadio Mane looked like a man possessed. He just was absolutely. There was fire in the belly there, 100%, and I think it's come from the few recent games where we played Arsenal and up against Holden, Rob Holden, at their right centre half. He seemed to got the better of him now and again, but there was no chance it was going to happen again. Sadio Mane was up for it. That elbow in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
Showed what
Was that a red? Was that a red? I don't think so.
I think it was the way around. I'd be screaming for it, but no. And then just to cap it off for Jota with his debut Premier League goal, it was just a great night all around, really.
Seriously, you said it all right there. I mean, I think Mane was definitely a man possessed, and we checked every single box and what I was looking for. Good defensive performance, solid, the best I've seen the midfield in a long time, even without Thiago. And then our front three with Jota even coming in, geez, lights out, unbelievable. Holmes, what do you think of everything we saw yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was there's that panic before the game of with Alisson and Thiago going to play, and everyone was going mad on Twitter, and then obviously Alisson was going to be playing. I thought we were going to win anyhow if Alisson didn't play, but just knowing he was there, that common presence, it gives that defense that confidence to play a high line, play at the back, and know that they've got Alisson. He made those. Though the first one was offside, that's a big save. The way he makes himself so big, he makes it really hard for people one-on-one. So I thought I thought it was a really good. Obviously disappointing Arsenal to the lead, but it was a really good performance. The resilience that we have now in terms of mentality that we don't. I think Robertson said after the game that normally when if he made a mistake in the past, he would just head down. But now they have that resilience to no, look, we're 1-0 down, we can still come back and score, and we just took over the game. And I think on another day it would have been 5 or 6-0 because the amount of chances we had, sometimes the decision making wasn't there at the end because we had quite a few opportunities where we closed them down for pressing and we didn't take it. I think overall everything was really, really well. And in terms of the team's cohesion, I think we played much more better than we did against Leeds and Chelsea, and we're seeing a progression in levels going up now. So I thought Gomez was outstanding. People been criticizing him for a lot since COVID, and I thought last night he had Aubameyang in his back pocket. Aubameyang was anonymous for that game, and all the Arsenal fans have given the big it before saying Aubameyang is going to do this and that. He was terrible. I remember I tweeted a stat saying since Aubameyang's joined, he's played Liverpool 5 times, 0 goals, 0 assists. And the same with Man City. And I was like, is he a man for the big occasion in the Premiership? Because he didn't do nothing. So, yeah, I thought big shout out to like Gini and Keita. I thought they played really well in terms of keeping possession of the ball, pressing. Fabinho was class the amount of times he won the ball. Yeah, I think it was overall a great performance on everyone. So, we showed Arsenal that were better than them. They resorted to playing like a Stoke City, turning behind the ball and playing long balls on field.
Mm-hmm.
And all the stuff. Look, all the stuff that's in about Arteta, he's improved them, but we never ever played turning behind the ball ever when Klopp started. So, yeah, I feel good for that game.
Yeah, no, I thought the Arsenal lineup was kind of questionable for me. The moment I saw their starting lineup, I knew the game was in the bag, especially with how Liverpool's been playing this year. And now with the addition of Thiago and Jota, they're not a team you can just play 7 defensive-minded people and then just leave your front 3 to just try to create on their own. You can't beat Liverpool like that way anymore. And when you saw the midfield that they put out, only 2 center mids, both of which were defensive minded, and then kind of going with more of a 5-man back, 3 in the back, 2 out wide. It's not going to work. Not going to work against us. We're going to dominate that midfield, and that's exactly what happened. I thought the midfield absolutely class today. Naby, I've never seen Naby pressed like that. He was looking like Wijnaldum with his movement on defensively. And it was great to see. But Andrew, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just pure domination for the most part. Arsenal barely had a lick at goal. I mean, I know Lacazette had that one goal, but that was off of a Robertson mistake. He used offsides more than he had shots. For me, it was just like a display of champions. Like this is what we've come to expect from these guys, and they delivered in a big game. Aubameyang had 24 touches in the ball I saw, which I think actually, I mean, someone said that Trent pocketed Aubameyang, but I actually thought it was more of the midfield press along with the front 3. Arsenal's midfield never really got a chance to get on the ball, and they never had a chance to spray that ball out wide to Aubameyang. I don't remember many occasions where Aubameyang and Trent were one-on-one and Trent came out the victor. I mean, maybe there were a few, but for me, it was just more about the midfield press and the front 3 pressing constantly. So, I mean, that was probably the best pressing performance from Liverpool, in my opinion, since we won 4-0 against Leicester. It was just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I do want to talk about Gomez and stuff, but I think we should talk about that midfield first. I mean, Mick, when you look at it, I mean, some of the things that we've talked about on this podcast is we're really going to see who wants that third starting spot, especially when Thiago is healthy, because Thiago is going to be a name that's always going to start, and there's always going to be Fabinho / Henderson in that holding role. So for me, I was ecstatic to see how well Gini Wijnaldum played and Naby Keita played. But Mick, what's your overall thoughts on this midfield? How do you think they played, and ultimately, just since we don't get to talk to you too much, what do you think is going to be the best midfield 3 going forward?
There's definitely plenty of options in there, like you said. There was Keita, Fabinho, and Wijnaldum yesterday, which is, if you take Fabinho out there and put Henderson in, which I think it would have been if Henderson was fit. That's them 3. That's the tried and trusted that Klopp goes with, and that's the games that's the team on the midfield that wins us games. Like we all know, this midfield's a functional midfield. It allows the 2 best fullbacks in the world to go and do their thing, and that's what it does. And I think some people get bogged down in the, we need an attacking midfielder. We haven't got enough creativity in there, and it's like, well, that's because you're not understanding the system. The system is to stifle, to get amongst everyone, close the spaces,
keep possession,
and give them a second on the ball, and that allows the Klopp system to happen. Otherwise, and it is funny because I spoke about this yesterday. It's like he's had this system for what, maybe the last 3 years, and everyone knows what they're going to come up against, but no one can stop it, and that's why it's an unbelievable way of playing, because people know we're going to throw our fullbacks forwards. Everyone knows we're going to flood the midfield a little bit and try and keep them out of the centre of the pitch. But no one's got the answers to try and fix it. But in terms of going forward, we all know Thiago is going to be pretty much nailed on a starting role in that midfield. Jordan Henderson's definitely the first name on the team sheet by a long way. So I imagine it's going to be those 2, and then trying to pick a third out of the other 3. it's going to be hard, and I think it's just going to be tailored, completely dependent on who we play, and having all those options in there, and even the ones we haven't mentioned, we've still got the likes of Curtis Jones, we've still got the likes of Taki Minamino, who are unbelievable. Like Curtis Jones is 19 years of age. He is going to be an absolute superstar in 3-4 years. Taki Minamino, for me, was our best player in pre-season, and he was our best player against Lincoln in the cup. And he got Curtis Jones didn't get a game last night, and Minamino got 3 minutes. I think that says a lot. The quality and depth we've got, the options we've got, especially before we signed Thiago, there was a lot of, well, don't read too much on Twitter, because before we signed Thiago, there was just heads falling off. People thinking, we're not going to retain the league. We need to sign someone. We need to sign this player, that player, this player. And it's like, well, we just won the league by, I think, was it 18 points? We just absolutely blew away everybody. And you're thinking that exact same team can't go and do that exact same thing again. And it's like, the overreaction was hilarious, to be honest. But Simon Thiago makes that midfield huge amount better, if it was possible, which is an absolute scary thought, what he can produce in that midfield. Like, you looked at the second half against Chelsea, I know they had 10 men, but the way he was just dominating the play, it's just the way he passes the ball, to be honest. It's the crispness he wants. It's 1-2 touches, and he's literally the perfect player to come into this team. I don't care if he's 29 years old or not. He's going to come in this team as and when he's required, and he's going to absolutely dominate teams easily. And putting him alongside Henderson or Keita or Fabinho or Wijnaldum or Jones or Minamino, I feel sorry for the opposition. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the things that we said is it's crazy how calm he is on the ball and how composed he is. And everybody on the team, he played for 45 minutes, and everybody on the team was finding him right away and just quickly 1-2 passes, boom, quick. And it's going to, if you press us, either he or Van Dijk is just going to play one over the top, and then you guys are screwed. So absolutely. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway of this game was Naby Keita's performance, because I've always said with Thiago coming in, it's probably going to be Naby that doesn't get the playing time. I think Gini has Klopp's trust, because Keita was never very good at the press. He didn't know exactly what position to be in and that sort of a thing. And I think yesterday's performance was really the first time that we saw that. But well, homie, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it was one of the things leading up into the game, was who was going to partner Van Dijk. Gomez had a shaky start to the season, coming off of a knock. Pretty awesome performance yesterday, though. No.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think he came in for a lot of unfair criticism for a lot of Reds. They kept saying like Gomez, even after Fabinho's performance against Chelsea, there were so many Reds saying, "Oh yeah, that Fabinho's now better than Gomez. Like Gomez is now third or fourth choice." And I was like, really? Like, this is the same Gomez where I think with last year we hadn't lost. He had only lost like 2 or 3 games, or maybe less, in his whole time at Liverpool. And statistically, still, he's got the best when Gomez plays. Our win percentage is the highest, more than it is with Matip, and more than So I think like he gets unfair criticism. Yeah, he has the odd time where he lapses in concentration. But overall, like last night, just showed to me it's like a lack of form. That was, he's still only quite young. So I think we forget that. Like, he's been playing a lot of football. He's very young. He's still learning, still growing, but he's the best English centre back in the Premiership. And even like underrated was like, everyone was like, Van Dijk was last night doing all those wicked long passes. People forget Gomez was doing quite a few good long passes himself.
Yeah,
like his passing range is really, really good. And I think Gomez silenced a lot of people last night because of that performance, because like he said, he had Bam in the back pocket. He was outstanding. So I think like too many Reds, especially the Twitter Reds, are too critical, and as soon as a player loses form on his back, and they need a scapegoat, and unfortunately it was Gomez lately. So yeah, I think it's going to do a world of good for his confidence. And it just shows, like, when Matip comes back, Gomez is there. We have good depth. Ideally, we have good depth there in terms of quality centre backs. If we can keep it more fit to go far in all 4 competitions, and that's the main important thing, is to have those options.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, with Gomez, it's never been a question of his talent. It's always just the question of his discipline. And still being a young player, he's going to have games like that where he just mentally may not 100% be there and just be completely out of position, like he was against Leeds and teams like that. But, Andrew, over to you. One of the things I noticed yesterday, which I think kind of sums up the mentality of this team, was Robert's performance, because he made a huge mental error, a really bad play there for them Lacazette to get the opening goal. But then like Mick said, like he just bounced right back and got that goal. And I think that pretty much describes this team in a nutshell with the mentality. But, overall, what did you think of his performance in that, and, kind of that 5-minute span there?
I mean, that's just a mistake that very rarely happens to a guy like Andy Robertson. I mean, it's just one that when it happens, you just shake your head and just move on. They were absolutely dominating the game, like I said earlier. And it was just at that point where the whole team was like, all right, whatever, it happens. Let's just move on. And, we're going to get a goal in the next 5 minutes, which ended up happening. So I don't think it was ever really in doubt how comfortable they were in the game. I'm surprised that Arsenal kept trying to pass out of the back, to be honest. You're up 1-0 and they continuously tried it. It reminded me of that City game when Liverpool beat City 4-3. They just kept trying to pass out the back. And I think we scored 3 goals in like 10 minutes or something like that. It just reminded me so much of that. It just seems so unnecessary, especially when you have a guy with pace on the wing like Aubameyang and Willian on the other side that you could just thump it forward. But overall, in terms of the midfield as well, I mean, I know I just talked about Robertson, but the midfield, I think, was the MVP of this game besides Sadio Mane. I mean, if you look at Naby Keita, like you said, Steven, Keita is usually known for like his flashy moves, drifting past other midfielders with ease. But in this game, he didn't really show much of that flash. He was just in the right positions at the right time. His press was extremely effective. I think he played close to 80 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought he played really well. I think that Fabinho has been one of our players of the season so far. He was absolutely fantastic again. And Gini Wijnaldum in the second half was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he was making pressing runs well into the 85th minute. It was great to see. And then any of the haters that were talking about him over the summer and even into the fall, just look back at that second half. It was a monstrous performance.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the things I wrote down was just his movement defensively and offensively. He was making some great runs going forward that was freeing up Salah to cut inside. I think that one of Wijnaldum's run actually went toward the corner of the box, allowed Salah to cut inside, play the through ball to Jota when he hit it side netting. But again, just that movement, you combine his movement and Keita's movement yesterday, you can't beat that. It's unbelievable. But I did want to go over to you, Mick, about Jota's performance, because I listened to a little bit of your podcast yesterday. I just loved everything you had to say. So, I mean, what did you think of his performance yesterday and to get off and running in 10 minutes and get a goal?
Who was that? Sorry, Gomez, did you say?
Jota.
Oh, Jota, yeah. He was honestly great. And it says a lot in terms of, I know he was 45 million and we don't know if we've overpaid until he's been here for a period of time. And I mean, that's probably the going rate these days for a 25, less than 25-year-old player who's in the Premier League scoring goals and getting assists like he was for Wolves. But no, he's a great sign. I think he was a bit under the radar in terms of what we all expected. I think on Twitter, there was a lot of people saying we were going to get Sarr from Watford. I think that was the general consensus, that we were going to go for Sarr because he was Mane's Senegalese buddy. I think everyone was thinking we were going to get him. But I've seen a lot of him for Wolves last year, and he's one of them. Like the thing is, the main thing is Klopp and his team. The amount of detail they put into the numbers in terms of the minute details can't be understated. Like the amount of stuff they look at, like that you would never think, like pressing in a certain area, ball recoveries, retention in when he's getting under pressure, just stuff like that you don't think of as a football fan, but when it's being done on the field and someone's brought into the team and can do that exact same function that Klopp wants pretty much straight away. He could have had a hat-trick last night. He was only on the field for 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. And that's if that's a sign of things to come, then Jesus Christ, what a player we've signed. He could be, I don't want to go too crazy, but he could be really good for us. I think It says quite a lot that Klopp's assistant Pep Linders said something about his technical ability. He said he's as good as the front three, and I think that compliment is because that front three is the best in the world. So to even Klopp must have let Pep say that at least, or unless Pep said it and then Klopp gave him the bollocking afterwards. Because I don't know why. If for me, he's not as good as them, but in the future, I think another Pep Linders quote, he said he's got the futures in his feet because he's got all those qualities there. He's got pace, he's got power. Pep said he's a pressing monster, and we haven't seen that as much yet because he hasn't been on the field that long. But in terms of all the drilling into the details and the goals and assists he can provide this team, and especially just coming off the bench and wanting to prove himself. I mean, he's already proved himself at Wolves, but he's came to the Premier League champions, the world champions, and he's going to have to bide his time. Like I said, Curtis Jones, Minamino, they're all in the same boat. They're all going to have to realise that this is the best team in the world. They're going to have to wait, try and force their way into things, or hope for an injury to try and get forced away into the reckoning. You're got to look back to when Andy Robertson forced his way in. It was through an Alberto Moreno injury, and we had and what a player he was, Alberto Moreno. I can't believe it took that injury to let Robertson in. I don't know if it's going to take something like that. Maybe, hopefully not, but it might have to be something like that for, like I said, Curtis Jones, Minamino, or Jota to force their way into things. But if they're happy to bide the time and try and ease their way into things, then, like I said, the squad we've got is scary. And on Thursday, looking forward, when we play Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, the second string we could put out could beat their first team quite easily, which says a lot for how far we've come under the 5 years in the club.
Yeah, I think we could be up for a bunch of trophies this year too. I mean, with that signing of Jota, it's really a game changer for our front three, especially for that second squad, as you said. I mean, he could definitely put in some goals for against the first team, like we saw yesterday. But I mean, I assume he's going to play on Thursday, as well as Minamino, as well as Shaqiri and Kurt. Like, that second team is incredible. So I would just expect Klopp to actually go after those trophies this year, whereas maybe in the past years we haven't had the legs or the men to be able to do that. This year we do. So no excuse this year to not be in at least quarterfinals, semifinals for some of these tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, I just think with the addition of with him, Thiago, Tsimikas, this is the best second unit we've had since I was able to start following Liverpool. Like I cannot think of a time when we had a squad depth like this. I mean, maybe back when we had like Crouch coming off the bench and those guys, but even still, the talent we have now is way above that. And my biggest thing with Jota's performance, I mean, it was a great goal, don't get me wrong, but just watching him play, like if you could take away all of his like personal details, I would have thought it was either Mane or Salah out there. Like he fit in perfectly, and he's been here a week. Absolutely crazy. But like Holmes, I gotta let you get in here because I know you're a big fan of him too. I mean,
yeah,
he's a pressing monster, like Klopp said. He literally did not stop running that entire time.
I was just saying, like I tweeted how he's a game changer in a sense. Like you look at if that was Origi come on, no offense to Origi, I don't think Origi causes that much panic. A lot of times when he comes on, he's like last year, there doesn't seem that much, effort. He's not getting the positions. And I think like Jota caused Arsenal so many problems because of his pace, his direct running, his link-up play. The finish was exquisite. That was, I think he's a game changer in terms of like to have someone like him to come off the bench who's still in the same quality bracket as the others is huge for us. And we never had that. And I think back to when we played Man United away, when we had no Salah, and how we struggled in that game with Origi on the left, and we had to take him off. So I think that's it. He's a game changer for us, and he's going to score, I'd say, at least 10, 15 goals in all competitions for us this year.
I don't doubt it.
And he's going to be, also in the Champions League, he's going to be huge for us. To know that we have a player like that ability to come off the bench, that's got pace, that's trickery, it's a pressing monster, has all those attributes, is going to be a game changer for us in terms of like giving us a different option. So yeah, I'm happy for him, and I think he's now going to push on because what I liked the fact was how happy the rest of the team was when he scored. How they were all celebrating him and saying congratulations, and that showed like how close the team is and how, you know, it's like they're a proper family and kind of stuff. So I think that kind of morale is really good, and it's going to really help him, you know, go to the next levels.
Yeah.
So
that was one of the things I took away too, actually, was because he even made a comment after the game. He was like, you know, it was really awesome that pretty much the entire team came up to me after I scored. You know, you come to a team like Liverpool, you know, they're world class, and you kind of don't really expect that. You know, when you score, you kind of, you know, when you play on a team this good, it's like you score, like we're kind of expected to score. But the fact that every single person had the biggest smile on their face, ran up to him, again, just shows how close his team is. And he's probably already one of the lads. I'm sure he already has a nickname already, or, you know, one of those things. But another thing I wanted to bring up, and I saw this on Twitter, it's kind of a small thing, but there was a time, especially in that game, you know, there was a perfect pass to Jota, and he had a perfect shot on net, but then Salah just ran right in front of him, kind of took the ball away from him a little bit. So I started seeing some more chance of, you know, Salah being a selfish player and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, he shouldn't have done it, but I love when he has this mindset. So far this season, he already has 35 touches in the box, which is more than the entire West Brom team combined. He's number one. He's number one in the league in that regard. And when you saw his movement with the ball yesterday, holy shit, man! Like, this is pretty much since that Burnley game last year when he and Mane, you know, got in a little spiff. I've never seen him pass the ball and get his teammates more involved than how he has been. And when he is selfish and holding on to the ball, you just see 2 or 3 defenders get drawn to him, which frees up space for our other guys. So I don't really see a problem with it. And even again, he didn't do that much yesterday, but I still thought it was a very effective performance by him. You know, checks all around. Anyone want to comment on that? Are we good to move on to man of the match?
Yeah, no, I think that a guy like Mo Salah, yeah, maybe some people will call him selfish, but I want him to be selfish. You know, I want my strikers to. That's why I wish Bobby Firmino. I wish he was a little more selfish sometimes. Maybe he had bagged a few more goals. But yeah, Mo Salah maybe takes a shot here. If he doesn't take that shot, we don't get the first goal for Sadio Mane. You know, he maybe that was selfish there. But certain situations, you want your striker to always be selfish. I mean, I think since Mo Salah came into the league, he has the most goal contributions. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne has more. I'm not sure, but he's definitely in the top 2. But that's what you want in your striker. You want him to just keep ripping shots. That's what he's there for. Yeah,
I mean, Firmino had a pretty solid game yesterday too. I thought his movement was great, and well, his movement was good. But that was the thing. If you looked at his heat map, he was pretty much a center midfielder. Like he was not anywhere near the box yesterday, and that's just going to allow Mane, Salah, and Jota to make those inward runs, which we score on. So I have no problem with that, especially when Thiago gets into the lineup. I expect that we're going to see the best of Firmino once that happens.
Yeah, I thought Firmino struggled.
It's like with because people are going to say Salah is selfish. Jota should have passed to Firmino, who's sent in the middle.
He was wide open. Yeah, so, that square pass.
Like, you want that in your strikers. Obviously, yeah, great the pass, but you want that instinct in them where they are going to have that hunger, that streak. You know what comes around. There's times when Mane is going to be selfish. When he shot over the bar, when he had people running with him, and you know, so they're all guilty of it. So it's obviously people are glaring on Salah for some reason, and like people jump on his back, and they pinpoint him for some reason. But they all do it. They're all guilty of it at times.
True.
The thing I look at is he's got 97 goals in 156 games for Liverpool, and he plays on the right side as a right winger. It's like all your claims about him being greedy fall down there, because he's greedy, but he gets the goals. It's not like he's greedy and being wasteful,
right?
And he can be wasteful, but like that one last night with Jota, that was completely against everyone. He probably done it and then realised, oh shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I've just potentially made Jota not get a debut goal. Obviously, then he did score, but it's things like that he could iron out of his game. But if he does it, then does he lose a bit of that eye for goal? He don't lose. And I said he's 3 off 100 goals for Liverpool in all competitions, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think it was even in his face yesterday. The moment right after that happened, you could see it in his face, like, "Oh shit, I fucked that up." Like,
Yeah,
you know,
both
he
kind of laugh at each other.
yeah, exactly. He was like, "My bad, dude, my bad." But let's move on to man of the match. I think we're all probably gonna be in agreement. I think Sadio Mane, obviously, just the Arsenal killer. I think he was probably the best guy out there. I mean, again, Fabinho was really good, and I think you could even put Gomez in there as well. But for me, it was definitely Mane.
Me too. I think Mane was just unplayable. The tricks he was doing, he was running them ragged. I was disappointed him to come off. I didn't understand why he came off. But then, yeah, I thought he was outstanding. You know, like
Yeah, I would have
I'll
liked.
say,
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
I was going to say, I think it was a Redknapp. One of those people said that he's the best player in the Premier League. I think he pushed De Bruyne close at times because he was unlucky last season to not be in the running for PFA player because I thought he was outstanding.
Yep, agreed.
Well, didn't he win Liverpool Player of the Year?
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, one thing I would have liked to see, I completely agree, Sadio Mane being man of the match, but I would have liked to see Firmino come off maybe a little earlier and give Minamino a little more time, maybe in like the 82nd minute or something like that, just because that guy is so good at pressing as well. To partner him with Jota up top would have been great to see. I mean, that guy has such an engine. So I'm excited to see what he does this Thursday against Arsenal. I think he might bag a goal, to be honest.
I hope so. But either way, it was nice to silence Arsenal after them beating us twice in a row and just let everyone know where they stand and let them know that, hey, you guys are still beneath us. But one stat that did come out of this game that I wanted to get in before we move on to some transfer stuff. So Klopp has now played the top 50 times in his career with Liverpool. He only has 8 defeats against the top 6. The next closest team is United with 15 defeats.
Wow.
So pretty remarkable stuff. I think City's at 16 or 17, and then Chelsea and those guys are closer to 20. So unbelievable stuff. That's really the difference between being champions and top of the table and not. So hats off to Klopp for always doing the right thing. But let's get into some transfer rumors here. So first things first, Karius is out. No surprise. I am surprised that it was a loan deal. I was really hoping that we'd get him on a permanent. He deserves that, and I also just think it's just time to cut weight. But it's clear that although I'd rather have him as a backup over Adrian, it seems like he has no future here, so you might as well just send him out. But then we got Brewster, Wilson, and Grujic that I think still need to go out. Well, homie, we'll start with you because you always have a good pulse on this stuff. Have you heard anything else? I saw a pretty low ball offer from Sheffield for Brewster, but anything else you can tell us?
Last I saw that's posted is that they're still Liverpool still holding out for 20 million for him, but they're still in negotiation with Brewster. But they were saying that talks are progressing well, so I think they will come to some kind of compromise if it is add-ons.
As long as we get the buyback, I want the buyback clause in there if we're going to sell them. Otherwise, loan them, in my opinion.
They've accepted that Sheffield United, so it looks as if it will be Sheffield United. I think Palace got annoyed after Sky outed them, so they're not bidding for him again. They're not coming back in for some reason after Sky did that. And then I think Wilson's close as well, from what I've heard, to Burnley, but they're still in talks over that. I've not heard anything in Grujic, so I don't know.
Yeah, with Wilson, I don't care what the price tag is, man. It's just time for him to go. He's not a Liverpool player. We know that. If it has to be 15, let it be 15. Collect that, have it go to some other funds. But Mick, I wanted to ask you about this with transfers. It seems like we're not going to be bringing in anybody else. Klopp's kind of adamant that we're done. Are you comfortable with that, or would you rather us bring in like a fourth string center back just in case for cover?
I mean, I was happy before we even brought in Thiago and Jota, to be honest. Like I said, I was happy with the squad, especially with Jones coming in, Nico Williams coming in, and even Harvey Elliott if we need him. Because between those three, maybe not Nico Williams hasn't showed that as much as he'd like to, but between Harvey going forward, Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones could be first team players in the next 2 years. And if we wouldn't have brought those Thiago and Jota in, that would have been progressed a bit quicker. They might have been integrated this year, but that might be next year now. In terms of, I think Harry Wilson looks like he's going to be going to Burnley, doesn't he? Like you said, if I think it's meant to be 16 million, but like you said, before all the transfer happened, I was thinking maybe bring him in as a backup But now it is just time to move on. Like he wants to move on. We need the money for him. I think it's the same for Grujic as well. Grujic was he was a shock inclusion in the Lincoln game for me. I was like, where? I've seen people put him, no, he might be in the starting 11. I was like, there's no chance he's going to be in the starting 11, and he gets put in the starting 11. And I think it was just shop window time. Klopp was like, let's throw him in the shop window, see if there's any takers. But I've not heard anything about him. But I'm happy with the squad, especially now we've brought in Jota and Thiago. And I don't expect anyone else to come in. I think we're pretty much sorted. Barring any injuries, especially in centre-back, I think Fabinho showed he can play centre-back against Chelsea. I think before that game, people were saying we definitely need a fourth choice, but Fabinho's proved all those wrong. And I think the Thiago deal only pretty much happened because Fabinho is such a good option at centre-half. So they've obviously used that as a way to the board to say, well, we can put Fabinho back there. So in replace, we need another midfielder. But if you look through that squad, it's pretty much, the only thing is, like you said, backup keeper, the drop from Alisson to Adrian is absolutely huge. And that would be the only concern for me, because Alisson missed a few games last year through injury and suspension. If that happens again, we won't struggle. I won't put it that strongly, but I was fearing the worst yesterday if Alisson was out, because, like you said, we play a high line, and I think Van Dijk and Gomez were in the back of their mind be thinking, "Fuck, we can't go too high because we've got him behind us." And I think that type of psychological effect does have an effect in those tight games. So having Alisson in goal is huge. And like I said, if we have Adrian in there, it's a huge drop off, especially if you talk about Karius. For me, he's dead weight, like you said. He's
awesome. Well, that concludes this episode of Yanks of the Cop. Hey, Mick, we really appreciate you hopping on, man. That was a lot of fun, and we hope we can do it again with you sometime.
Anytime, just drop me a message. I'll jump back on with you guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, we
appreciate that. And don't forget, everybody, please, if you're not already, please go ahead, follow the Kopite Podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, as well as Apple. Follow him on Twitter at MickLFC. The I is a 1. And obviously, don't forget to follow all of us as well. And please do us a huge favor. Go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button right beneath you. We really appreciate all you guys, and we love bringing out this content for you. So I really appreciate all your support. So, lads, any last things to say for all the red men out there?
I want to hear what Homie has to say.
I think for me, I'm excited for Thursday. I want more ready. So I can't wait to kick out Arsenal on Thursday, doing them twice in a week.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. Sums it up for me. Up the Reds.
All right, baby. Well, up to Reds. Mick, thanks again. And we'll see you all next time for the pregame for Aston Villa. Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
All Reds.
Yeah,